Okay, so I was actually waiting to start the lesson after the Isha Azan, because anyhow after I start the lesson I will have to wait for some time. So due to that, the lesson I'll be starting after the Isha Azan. So children, today I'm going to teach you all a lesson from grade 10. Okay, the lesson in grade 10, the last unit, the unit number 10. Okay, there is a lesson called Sri Lanka and the Western World. From that is the lesson that I am going to teach. So, okay, it's Azan, right? Yes. Okay, I will start after it. Right. So first of all, I would like to tell you guys that if you want to send me any messages, if you want to chat with me, you have to send it to the participant Rifka Rouf chat. Okay, so that is the participant to which you have to send your messages. So that is the first thing that I want to tell you. And first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Rifka Rouf and I'm teaching history at Sateha College. And I have been teaching here since 1 year. And this is the free session for the students of grade 8, 9, 10 as well as 11. So I have chosen the lesson from grade 10, and that is the lesson from the unit number 10, the Sri Lanka and the Western world. So you would wonder that then how come the grade 8 and grade 9 students can relate this lesson? Actually, this particular lesson is there in grade 8 as well. In grade 8 syllabus also, the last lesson is something related to the lesson that I am going to teach you today. So grade 9s, anyhow, you all are the very first step for the O level is grade 9. So 9 also, if you learn this lesson, it will be really beneficial for you guys. Grade 10, obviously, this is a lesson from your syllabus. And grade 11 also, you know, the grade 10 is going to be the majority question in your O level paper. Okay, so this is the reason that I am teaching this particular lesson, and also many students have not actually studied this particular lesson, because since it is a last lesson, and in many schools also they have left this lesson. Yes, Akif. Now it is like this, my dear. Now there are lessons in both the grade 10 and grade 11. There are plenty of lessons, and we can omit certain lessons from uh, we can omit, but we can't exactly say that, right? We can't ignore any lesson as it is. We can't give less importance to any lessons. Okay, because in case we have no idea if there is a question from this lesson, and it is an important lesson, that is what they have also included in your syllabus, right? So that's not an issue even if you study, my dear. Okay, so that is it. So in this lesson, the very first part is the relationship. So the arrival of the Portuguese. Okay, arrival of the Portuguese, arrival of Portuguese, arrival of Portuguese, and the relationship, and the relationship, and the relationship that they existed, that they followed, or that they established with the Kote kingdom, that they established with the Kote kingdom, with the Kote kingdom, right? So this is the part that we are going to learn today. So children, am I lagging? Am I clear to you guys, or am I lagging? Because some students are saying that I am lagging. Am I? Or is it clear? Okay, great, fine. Okay, so now the grade 10s, before this lesson, you would have studied the Renaissance. Now, actually, if I say about the history is the chain of stories. Even what you have learned in grade 6, when you come to grade 11, you will be able to remember. You should be able to remember, because this is going to be the stories, right? They are chain of stories, right? So the lesson in grade unit in the grade 10, the unit 9. Okay, so as a continuation of that only, we have to take this unit 10, right? So I'm going to give you a small recap on what we have learned in the previous lesson, that is the Renaissance. So children, you all know what is Renaissance. So Renaissance was the broad transformation that took place in the field of arts and science in the Europe. That is Renaissance. So we learned that number of reasons were there for the Renaissance to occur, right? So because of that Renaissance, the people in the Europe, they had to they had to find the routes to the Asia, right? There arose a need for them to search the route to Asia. With that only, actually, the Europeans started coming to the East. That was started, right? That was started with that particular thing only. So in this lesson, children, we are going to focus on what? We know that the very first nation who came to Sri Lanka was the Portuguese. So how did the Portuguese, they came to Asia? And after that, how they came to Sri Lanka? By the time when they were coming, what sort of a political situation existed in our country, right? And after that, how did the Portuguese establish their relationship with the Kotte, and finally, how they became the owner of the Kotte kingdom. So these are the things that I'm going to cover in this lesson today. Okay, my dear. So that is it, right? Okay. So let's start the lesson, and in between or at the end of the lesson, I will give you more details about my class in Sateha College. Okay, many keep sending messages. So in between the lesson, where I'm taking a small pause, at that time, I'll tell you the details of my class, right? So are you all ready to go to the lesson? Are you all ready? Ready to travel with me? Are you all ready? Yes, fine. Okay. So now let's see, my dear. Now, first of all, now the Europeans, right? They paid their attention to the Eastern countries as a result of the new revival in the trade centered in the Southern Europe of the beginning of the second. So, you know that during the medieval period, now before the Renaissance, an era in that the entire Europe experienced, that era we call as the medieval era. Okay, so the medieval Europe or the medieval era, after the medieval era only, actually the Renaissance occurring in the Europe. After this only, the Renaissance occurring in the Europe. So during the medieval era, children, right? During the medieval era, actually the trade domination was under the hands of the Muslims, right? That means now there was a center, okay? There was a trading center. We call that as Constantinople. We call that as Constantinople, right? So this was the trading center at the time. So the Asian countries which are located in the eastern side of the world, and you know that the European countries, that is belongs to the western side of the world. So like I told you, during this medieval era, what has happened? Now the entire trade domination was under the Arabian traders. Actually, these Arabian traders are from the countries of Persia and Arabia, Saudi Arabia, from those countries. Now, during this medieval era, how was the trading happening? Now, these Muslim traders, they are obtaining the goods from the Asian countries. So there are a number of Asian countries, right? Sri Lanka, China, India. From those countries, they were obtaining so many commodities. So these Muslim traders, they were obtaining the goods from these Asian countries and they were bringing it to the Constantinople, right? Now, from the European countries, in the France, from the Britain, from the Holland, the traders from those countries, they are coming to the Constantinople, collecting the goods which were brought from the Arabian traders, and they are taking back to their country. So this was the system actually during the medieval era. Okay, this was the system. So now the Europeans knew that there is a country called Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka is producing very quality cinnamon. There is a country called China. There is a country called India. These Europeans knew, but they never felt at that time to go to these countries because there was no need for them at that time to go to those countries, because whatever they needed, Arabian traders are bringing to the Constantinople, and these European traders are also getting them from the traders. So the at the time this system was so smooth, right? It was so smooth. So that was the time, the medieval era, the period. So that existed in Europe, my dear children, from 500 AD to 1500 AD. So the medieval era existed in the Europe nearly for 1000 years. The present name of Constantinople is the Istanbul. Right? The Istanbul is the present name of the Constantinople. Right? So now what has happened? At the end of the medieval era, now originally at the time during the medieval era means the Christian domination. During the time of medieval era only, the Jesus Christ born and the Christianity, the spread of Christianity occurred in the Europe. So after the establishment, after the spread of the Christianity in Europe, you know what? Historically, we knew that there were religious battles between the Muslims and the Christians. The religious battles were there. So number of wars took place between the Christians and the Muslims. So that situation was prevailing in the medieval era. So at the end of the medieval era, what has happened? The Ottoman Turks. The Ottoman are the indigenous people of the Turkey. So the Ottoman Turks, they captured the Constantinople. So the Ottoman Turks, okay, Ottoman Turks, they captured the Constantinople. So after they captured the Constantinople, now the Ottoman Turks are originally, they are Muslims. So now it was a really difficult time for the European traders to obtain the goods from the Constantinople. Why is that? Because now there were 3 routes at that time for them to reach the Asia. There were only 3 routes. Now here, all these 3 routes are through the Constantinople only they have to go. Right, from the Europe through the Constantinople only, they have to reach the Asia. So the first one is the Silk Route, which led the city of Constantinople through the Persia and the Central Asia and China. Okay, the one route was there, right? Okay, now look at here. Now I'll write, then you can be able to understand. Right, now from the now Constantinople, Constantinople. Right? After that, they have to go to Persia and then the Central Asia and then the Central Asia and then they can go to China. This is one route. This is one route they were following. The second route was Constantinople. Okay, Constantinople. Now, second one was Egypt and through that Constantinople, 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 and then to the Mediterranean Sea, Mediterranean Sea, Mediterranean Sea, and then Red Sea, Red Sea, and the Indian Ocean, Indian Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. Sorry, here. This should come like this. Constantinople, and then the Egypt. Right? And the third route is, right, the route which led from Constantinople, right, Constantinople, Constantinople, and then Baghdad, Baghdad, and then Persian Gulf, Persian Gulf, and then the western coast of India, western coast of India, western coast of India. So these were the routes. Actually, they were taken during the time of this medieval era. Okay, so all these routes to Asia were connected to the Constantinople. You can see here, Constantinople, Persia, Central Asia, China. Constantinople, Egypt, then Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea. And Constantinople, Baghdad, Persian Gulf, western coast of India. So this is how actually all the routes are connected. Okay, this is how actually all the routes are connected. So now you see, now you can imagine what sort of a difficulties, right? What sort of a difficulties that they might have, they would have faced when the Constantinople was captured by the Ottoman Turks. Now it was under the Muslims. So now here the Muslims are against to the Christians, right? So here, when the Constantinople, when it went right under the Turks, it was really a difficult time for the Christian traders. It was a great loss to them. Why? Now here, the Europeans, right, they had to go many difficulties. The Ottoman Turks, they increased the prices of the spices. They increased the prices of the spices and they did not supply the goods on time. Okay, they did not supply the goods on time. So because of this one, they had to undergo so many losses and so many problems. So due to this only, actually, now they were like, okay, now if they want to get all these commodities means they should directly go to the, okay, they should directly go to where? They should directly go to the Asia. They should directly go to the Asia. So this is what actually happened. This is what actually happened. Right, now look at here. Now this is a map. Okay, this is actually, it is in the grade 8. Okay, that's what I said. Here, now look at here. Now this is, you can see through this map. the ancient sea route through which the trade relation between the Asia and Europe carried out. So here you can see the Constantinople is there. And here the Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea, right here India, these are the countries in the eastern, these are the countries in the... So all these routes were connected to Constantinople, right? So now due to that, they have to, right? Now they were unable to get the goods on time, right? So now what has happened? As the Europeans, they got used to consume the Asian spices for a long period of time. There was a great demand for the spices, including the cinnamon and pepper. So the Europeans, they faced a challenge in finding the new routes to Asia since all these routes, right? So all these routes, they were under the Islamic followers. So it was really a difficult time for the Europeans. So the only option they had is they want to find the route to the Asia. Okay. So now up to this, are you guys clear with the story? Up to this, are you guys clear with the story? Now the medieval era was there. During the time, what sort of a thing happened? And then what is the importance of Constantinople? And how was the trading activities taking place at the time? And after that, how did the Ottoman Turks, they captured the Constantinople? And then after that, what kind of the difficulties the European traders had to face? Now it was a European country, no, Mariam. So that time it was under the Europeans only, right? So after that only, when they capture only, it was difficult to them. Did you understand, Mariam Azad? Yes. Now the Arabian traders they were from Asia. They were from Iran, they were from Saudi Arabia. So those traders were going to Asia, taking the goods, coming to the Constantinople. You got it? Actually, it is like this. The purpose is now already in the Europe, the religious battles were going on. But the Arabian traders here, now they were the ones who had the trading dominion. Do you understand? So in the Europe, that battles were going on. So that's a different part, my dear. Because, it's a different part. Why in the Europe, the battles between the Christians and the Muslims was there. If I say in short, we can say that as crusades. That is what, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, right? Jerusalem. So the Muslims are saying that is the holy place of them, and the Christians are saying that is the holy place of them, and the fighting started for that place in between the Muslims and the Christians in the Europe. You got it why, Mariam, now? The thing is, because that's a different story, I don't want to connect that here. Okay, so it's a place, Rifka. So Rifka Rilwan, Constantinople is a place. It was a place, right? Currently it is, we call as the Istanbul. Okay, so that is it. So up to this, you all clear, right? Here and there, I was able to clear some students' doubt who are asking me constantly, right? Right. So now let's see after this what has happened. So now the European countries, they were in a need to find the route to Asia. In that, the foremost country who had a very good interest is the Portugal. So you all were, I think some of the students here, the boys, you may be a fan of Portugal. Why is that? Now I'm saying, presently why? Yes, it is because of whom? It is because of whom? Some boys are replying me. Yes, CR7. Yes. Okay. So it's because of that. Right. So now let's come to the lesson now. Now Portugal is the country who had an immense interest that they want to find out the route to Asia. Now the Portugal, right? So the people who live in the Portugal, we call them as the Portuguese. We call them as the Portuguese. So Portugal is nation and Portuguese are the nationality. The people who live in the Portugal, we call them as Portuguese, right? So the motherland of the Portuguese was Portugal. So Portugal is a country, right, which is located in the southwest Europe. So Portugal is located facing the Atlantic Ocean, and the Portuguese also had to run their foreign relationship with the sea routes. Through the sea routes only, they had to do all the trading relationship with the foreign countries. So as a result, they showed a great competence in the sea affairs, right? Because they had a prince called Prince Henry. Okay, Prince Henry, right? He also known as Henry the Navigator. He also known as Henry the Navigator. Henry the Navigator, right? So this person who lived in the Portugal in the 15th century was very interesting in the explorative affairs. Exploration, exploration, exploration. Exploration means what? Searching new routes to reach the Asia. So imagine, children, you have no idea where these Asian countries are. So just if you left out to the sea without having a proper knowledge and experience, it is going to be a really difficult thing, isn't it? Now imagine if I tie your eyes and if I left you in a forest, right? Will you be able to come to your place where you were? It's difficult, right? So just like that only for the Portugal also at that time, they want to find the route. Am I clear, children? Can you hear me properly? Is my video clear to you? Okay, thank you. Okay, fine. So here now the exploration, right? So when they wanted to take the exploration here, now like I told you, they should have an immense interest. At the same time, if they have only the interest, that is not going to be right enough, because there must be several factors they needed in order to take such exploration. So like I told you, this Prince Henry, right, he ran a naval school, right? He ran a naval school in Portugal, right? He ran a naval school in Portugal, and he taught the subjects like naval craft, okay? He taught subjects like naval craft and at the same time mapping, okay, mapping, and then they are also taught about the other necessary things needed to take the exploration, other necessary thing needed to take the exploration, right? Okay, Miss Shua. Right. Am I clear now? Am I lagging still? Okay, fine. Right. In between, I think it's lagging here and there. So I have no idea. Okay, fine. Right. So like these are the, now let's come back to the lesson, right? Okay. Now here the Henry the navigator was there and he was running a school, right? And in that school certain subjects are taught which is completely necessary for the exploration. For an example, the naval craft, mapping, shipbuilding, okay? Shipbuilding, how to build the ship in order to take the long voyages. So these are the subjects which were taught in the school that was run by the navigator, Henry the navigator. So because of these reasons, the Portuguese were in the forefront more than the other Europeans in the effort of finding the new sea route to Asia. Right? So the Asians, so here when other countries were also trying to find the new sea route, but the Portuguese were in the forefront because they were having all these abilities, right? So in this attempt, children, they were succeeded. An explorer named Bartolomeu Dias, he was able to reach up to the Cape of Good Hope in the Africa, and later on by following the same route of Bartolomeu Dias, the Vasco da Gama, he was able to reach the place in Calicut in India. Calicut in India. He was able to reach a place in Calicut in India. So the Portuguese succeeded. Yes or no? The Portuguese succeeded. Yes or no? In finding the route to Asia. Yes. Okay. So after the arrival of the Portuguese to Asia, the other Europeans like Dutch, English, even the French, they arrived to Asia and they started spreading their power over various regions. So the Europeans, they extended their power over Asia for about 450 years. For 450 years from the beginning of the 16th century. So actually now tell me, why the Europeans wanted to come to Asia? So tell me, what are the objectives they may have? So up to this, what we have studied so far, tell me why they wanted to come to Asia. Why they wanted to come to Asia? Why they wanted to come to Asia? Yes, very good. Right? They wanted to obtain the objectives of Europeans, for coming to Asia, So number one is they wanted to obtain the commodities. They wanted to obtain the commodities, right? And also they wanted to gain the economic profits. They wanted to gain the economic benefits. They wanted to gain the economic benefits. At the same time, they also wanted to spread their religion. They also wanted to spread their religion. Christianity. So these are the objectives of the Europeans for coming to East, right? So the objectives of the arrival of the Europeans to Asia had differences according to the political and the economic changes that took place in Europe during the time from the 16th century to 20th century. But the major objectives for the arrival of the Portuguese to Asia were gaining the economic benefits and spreading Roman Catholic, spreading the Roman Catholic in the eastern countries, right? Okay, so their purpose was to, so by the time I told you, right, now already who are the group of people who have established the trade this domination in the east? Tell me. Now before the Portuguese were coming, right, before they come to Asia, during the medieval period, who actually dominated? Yes, very good, Amna. Very good, Rifa. Yes, the Arabian traders. The Arabian traders. So they were actually Muslims, right? They were Muslims. So now the Portuguese wanted to defeat the Muslims and take over the trade monopoly in the Asia to their hand, right? So all these time, the Muslims were the ones, the Arabian traders are the ones who were obtaining the goods from the Asia and taking to the Europe. So now the Portuguese wanted to grab that monopoly from the Muslims and wanted to earn and wanted to enjoy all the privileges what they were enjoying before, right? So that the Portuguese, that they could gain a huge profit by that. So that can be clearly understand through the statement of Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama. So Vasco da Gama is the person, a Portuguese national, to reach India for the first time. He reached to a place called Calicut in India. He was the first person. So when he arrived to India, when he set foot in India, he made a statement. What is that? We arrived here in search of the Christians and the spices. So that is clearly giving us an idea, and for the what purpose, right? The Europeans, especially the Portuguese, wanted to come to Asia. So the Portuguese group who came to India after Vasco da Gama, they given the instruction by the Portugal to establish a storehouse for storing the commodities and to get the permission from the ruler of Calicut. Okay, so that is clearly showing us what was the purpose of the Portuguese to come to East. So when they reached the India, right, they requested at the time the ruler that they wanted to build some storehouses in the India, whatever the commodities were obtained from there, to store it and to take it to their country, right? Storehouses. At the same time, they were also requested that the some priest to allow the king to for some priests to preach the sermons, right, in order to spread their religion, right? Yes, Hazma, you are correct. So that's it. So this is how the Portuguese arrived to Asia and then they came to India. So first of all, they were finding the route and then they reached to Asia and then they reached to India. So next we are going to learn how they are coming to Sri Lanka. So up to this, are you guys clear? Up to this, are you guys clear? Up to this, are you guys clear? Right. So children, like I told you, I said in between the class, right, I'll give the details of my classes in Sateha College, right? So children, I conduct history classes for the students from grade 6 to grade 11. Okay, from grade 6 to 11, I conduct classes in Sateha College and it is in Zoom, right? Online classes only will take place. For from grade 6, 1.5 hours and per week, and after that grade 7 to 9, grade 7 to 9 it will be 2 hours, and for grade 10 and 11 it will be 3 hours. So I have split that into 2. So the right timetable I'll be posting to you guys. At the same time, from the Sateha College also you can get it, right? So apart from that usual classes from grade 6 to 11, the 2020 grade 11 batch we have, right, who are going to sit for the exams in the 2023 May. So for them, the paper classes conducted, I conduct the paper class. So in this paper class, right, I classified the questions, past paper questions and the provincial paper questions, lesson by lesson, right, separately classified, and those are discussed. And from January, there will be 2 days this paper class will take place, right? That is on Thursdays and Sundays, 2 hours. And at the same time, from January 1st week, there will be one paper. Every week, a paper practice will be done. So, you know, there are reputed school papers we will be practicing. Apart from these 2 classes from Thursday and Sunday, every week there will be a paper given and that will be discussed also. Right. So normally you all know, right, the history is English medium history is there only in the international schools, and the students, we are not getting the chance to practice the government schools papers. But whatever the papers of those, I translate into English and we are going to do the practice sessions. That is from the first week of January. Right? No, I don't conduct physical classes. I conduct only the online classes. And in Sateha College, through the Sateha College, you can join it. Okay? So every details, right? You can reach out to me. I'll give you my number and I hope that you have the college number as well. But I will provide both of my number. So this is my number, Rifka Rouf. Okay? Rifka Rouf. So my number is 077-8686-12223. Okay, this is my number. And the Sateha College number also, I'll share it with you guys, our college number. So more details about, okay, Sateha College number also, I will provide it to you. Okay, so you can also contact this number and get further details. And even if you want to join, you can join through the college. Okay, so I hope it is clear. The right timetable, okay, of the next year for grade 6 to 11, you can get it through the college, children. So if you all need any more details regarding the class, you can ask me. Right. Okay. So hope that is benefited you people. So more details regarding this, you can also drop me a message in the to me personally, or else you can get the details from the college. Right. Okay. So now let's move on to the next part of the lesson. Right. That is the political condition. The political condition. The political condition in Sri Lanka, the political condition in Sri Lanka when the Portuguese when the Portuguese arrived in Sri Lanka, when the Portuguese arrived in Sri Lanka, when the Portuguese arrived in Sri Lanka. So now I'll just give you up to what we have studied, right? So we know that the Portuguese, they were trying to come to Asia and they reached up to India. But now how they are coming to Sri Lanka only we are going to learn. Okay, so there was a commercial and military importance to Sri Lanka in the Asian affairs of the European, as Sri Lanka was a significant center situated close to the sea trade route in the Indian Ocean. So basically, the Sri Lanka is located in the center of the Indian Ocean, right? In the sea trade route, it is located in the middle. So for the trading activities to take place, it's really important. So the geographically, Sri Lanka is important for that. So economically, that is going to benefit, as well as military purpose also, that is going to benefit, right? So the Portuguese who recognized this country as Ceylon, they knew that this country is producing the cinnamon of good standard. So they have heard, okay, there is a country called Ceylon, and that country is producing very quality cinnamon. They have heard about it, right? So now the Portuguese who paid their attention to Sri Lanka within a short period of time after they had come to India, right, in the month of March, the King of Portugal sent Francisco, right, Francisco de Almeida. Francisco de Almeida. So the King of Portugal, he has appointed a group of people, a group of Portuguese as the Viceroy. Okay, Viceroy of the East, Viceroy of the Asia, a group of people to handle the affairs in Asia, because the King of Portugal, he can't handle everything because he's living in his country, right? So he can't all the time look into the affairs, so that he has appointed a Viceroy to take care of the affairs in Asia. So by the time when he was appointing him also, one of the tasks given to him was finding the country called Ceylon. So finding the country called, right? Sri Lanka was one of the tasks given to Francisco de Almeida, right? So among the instructions which had been given to Almeida, his purpose was achieved. So here he was in the search of a country called Sri Lanka. So his son, okay, his son Lorenzo de Almeida, his son Lorenzo de Almeida, right, when he was, right, reached this country accidentally after being caught in a tempest. So actually a group of people, right, with Lorenzo de Almeida, they were in a search of the country called Sri Lanka. Right, at that time, accidentally, they got caught to this country because of a tempest, because of a storm. So that is how they reached to Sri Lanka. That is how they reached to Sri Lanka. Okay. Now, when Lorenzo de Almeida arrived in this country, there was right background set up for a foreign invasion, as there was no political unity in Lanka. Right? So here, even though Parakramabahu the sixth, right? Even though Parakramabahu the sixth, who was a great ruler of the Kotte kingdom, even though he was united the country at that time, right after the death of him, the country was split. And by the time the Portuguese were arriving to Lanka, it was divided into three kingdoms. It was divided into three kingdoms. One is the Kotte kingdom. One is the Kotte kingdom. And the other one is the Candian kingdom. And the other one is the Candian kingdom. And the other one is the Candian kingdom. And then the third one is the Jaffna kingdom. And the third one is the Jaffna kingdom. So the Kotte was by the time ruling by a king called Veera Parakramabahu the eighth. Veera Parakramabahu the eighth. Veera Parakramabahu the eighth. And the Candian kingdom was ruled by, at the time, a king called Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. And the Jaffna was ruling by a king named Pararaja Sekaram. Pararaja Sekaram. Pararaja Sekaram. So tell me, children, by the time the Portuguese were arriving to Lanka, into how many kingdoms the Lanka was divided? Into how many kingdoms the Lanka was divided? Yes, it is divided into three. What are they? What are they? What are they? Kotte, Candian, and Jaffna. And the Kotte kingdom was ruled by whom? The Kotte kingdom was ruled by whom? Kotte kingdom was ruled by whom? Yes, Veera Parakramabahu the eighth. Yes, very good. Veera Parakramabahu the eighth. Candian kingdom ruled by whom? You can also send me in the short form, shortly. The typing is difficult, I know that. Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. Right. Who was ruling the Jaffna? Who was ruling the Jaffna? Yes, Pararaja. Yes, the short name is Pararaja. Yes, Pararaja Sekara. Right. So out of these three kingdoms, my dear children, the Kotte kingdom was the prominent one. The Kotte kingdom was the prominent, right? It was the prominent one. So the Portuguese who came to Lanka, they first tried to build their relationship with the kingdom of Kotte. Right? So it is said, so when the Portuguese now accidentally know they have arrived to Lanka, my dear. So now some people in Lanka, they saw, some different people, different group of people have arrived to our country. They ran to the king. They ran to the king and they said, what do you know? King, there is in our harbor of Colombo a race of white people, right? A race of people, fair of skin. They were dressed in jackets of iron. They were wearing the hats in iron. They are eating the hunks of stone and they are drinking blood. And they are drinking blood. The sound that is coming from their cannon is much louder than that's come from the Ugandara. So Ugandara means mountain. So they said like that, oh king, a group of people have arrived to our country. Their skin is white. They are eating the hunk. They are eating the hunks of stone. They are drinking blood and they are wearing the jackets and hats in iron. So they wonder who are these people. So actually, they were drinking wine. Okay, so that these people have thought that it is what? The blood. They were actually eating bread. But for them, it's new, right? Our people have never seen at the time the bread. So they were like, okay, they were eating the hunks of stone. So they wonder. Okay, so it is said that now the king, when he heard this one, the king asked those people, okay, bring them to me. Bring them to me. I want to meet them. Right? So now some representatives of, right, the king, they were accompanied. Now they came to take the group of people, right? Blood is wine. They were actually drinking the wine, Suhail. It is in red in color, no? Right? It was red in color, right? So that they were thought that it is a blood because those people have never seen it. Okay? So that's it. So now they wanted to take these people to the court where the king is there. The king is living in court. So these people wanted to take to the court. But now they had a fear. They have no idea, right, what sort of a people they are. What is it? Kanza, I didn't get you, my dear. They did not invade the country for the first time, no, first as a result of the storm, no, still they have not invaded, my dear. Sahat, now only they have kept the food here. They have not invaded. Now only they set food. After this only number of Kumantarana is there. Then only they are going to invade it. You got it? So this is the first part. Right? So that's it. Okay, right. Now let's go to the story. So now the king said, okay, go, bring them. I want to meet those people. Bring them here. So now these people, they did not want to take this, they did not want to correctly know the place of the court because they really know, right? They did not know for what purpose these group of people had come. Right? So because of that one, in order to meet the king through a road consists of many bends, right? They have taken them like this. Now for an example, it is like this. Right? Now here only the court palace is there, we'll say. Now here only the court palace is there. So king is living here. So actually to this place only, this is the harbor, we'll say. Here only these Portuguese have arrived. So now what? Directly there is a route to take them to the court. But these group of people, right, they did not want to reveal the real route of the court palace. So they were taken there with a road which consists of so many bends. Now like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So now they were giving the idea of what? Now to this new group of people, giving the idea is what? This Kote Palace is so far from the place where we have reached. That is the idea, right? They are giving? Yes or no? Yes, this king's palace is so far from the place to where they have reached. So that is what the idea they wanted to give here. So this that was used by the representatives of the king in order to pretend them that there was a great distance between the Colombo and Kote. With this only, a proverb emerged. What is that proverb? Parangiya Kote Giya Vage. Parangiya Kote Giya Vage. Okay, Parangiya Kote Giya Vage. So that was the Now it is like this, no, Rehana. Now for an example, now these people don't know for what purpose they have come. Now in case if they are to attack or else if they are to do something, means again with this route, no, they are going to go. So within that time, these people can quickly catch them, no. This is the easy road, right? So that is how it is, right? So Parangiya kote giya wage. So Parangiya kote giya wage means what? The way how the Parangiya, the Portuguese went to Kote. So that this is how that proverb emerged, right? Okay. Now here, by the time, right, yes, Sutti Valachi Poradhu. Yes, you are correct. Yes. Okay. You know, there are some people, right, when they, now, when they want to say something, when they want to convey any other message, they may say number of stories and finally they will come to the point. We will say, no, Angatikiri Suttama, Vishayatukuva. We will say, right, just like that. Okay, we used to say, right, just like that. Yes, whatever you want to say directly. Just say directly. We used to say, right, just like that. Okay, fine. Now, children, here, by the time the Portuguese were coming to Lanka, who was the king ruling the Kote? Tell me now. By the time the Portuguese were coming to Lanka, who was the king? Who was the king? Who was the king of Kote? Who was the king of Kote? Oh, yes, very good. Veera Parakrama Bahu the 8th. Veera Parakrama Bahu the 8th. Veera Parakrama Bahu the 8th. So actually, after Veera Parakrama Bahu the 8th, right, his son, right, one of his sons, Vijaya Bahu the 6th ascended to the throne. Vijaya Bahu the 6th ascended to the Sena Sammata Vikrama Bahu was the ruler of Kandyan kingdom. Okay. Veera Parakrama Bahu the 8th was the king of the Kote kingdom. So after him his son Vijaya Bahu the 6th ascended to the throne. Now this Vijaya Bahu had 2 marriages. Right? He had 2 marriages. On his first marriage, right? On his first marriage, he had 3 sons. Okay, he had 3 sons. Yes, I told you out of these 3 kingdoms, the Kote kingdom was the prominent at that time. Okay, now on his first marriage, he had 3 sons. One is Bhuvaneka Bahu. Bhuvaneka Bahu the 7th. The other one is Mayadunna. Mayadunna. And then the 3rd one is Raigama Bandara. Raigama Bandara. And on his 2nd marriage, okay, on his 2nd marriage, okay, on his 2nd marriage, he had a son named Devaraja. He had a son named Devaraja. Now tell me, according to the right, okay, according to, after Vijayabahu the 6th, who should become the king? Now you people tell me, after Vijayabahu the 6th, according to the right, who should become the king? Yes, it is Bhuvaneka Bahu the 7th. Right? He is the rightful person to become heir to the throne. Right? So now, Vijayabahu the 6th, right? He made attempt, right, to give the kingship to the Devaraja. So, do you think that these 3 sons would be happy about it? Do you think these 3 sons would be happy about it? No, never, not at all. So now they created a conspiracy, right? They created a conspiracy. Now they decided, these three sons got together, and this Mayadunna. So by the time in the Kandyan kingdom, after Sena Sammata Vikramabahu, a king called Jayavira Bandara ascended to the throne. By the time when you were learning the Kandyan kingdom, you might have learned, right? Conspiracy means hasma, kumantranaya. In Sinhala we say kumantranaya. In Tamil we say sulchi. Okay, in Tamil we say sulchi. In Sinhala we say kumantranaya. Right. Now the Mayadunna, the Jayavira Bandara, he was the king at that time in Kandyan kingdom, and he was also a very good friend of Mayadunna. By taking the help of Jayavira Bandara, these three sons got together and appointed a person called Salman. So these three surrounded the palace, and their father was killed by this person. This particular incident we call as Vijayaba Kollaya. This particular incident we call it as the Vijayaba Kollaya. So Vijayaba Kollaya or Vijayaba conspiracy. Right? So they killed their father. So after the death of Vijayabahu the sixth, the Kotte kingdom was divided into three. The Kotte kingdom was divided into three. The Kotte kingdom was divided into three. Kotte kingdom divided into three. One is the Kotte, and the other one is the Sitavaka, and the other one is the Raigama, and the other one is the Raigama. Now is it clear, Akmal? Okay, give me a minute. Okay, now is it clear? Now is it clear? Akmal, now is it clear? Okay, fine, right. So now after Vijayaba Kollaya, the Kotte kingdom was divided into three. That is Kotte, Sitavaka, Raigama. So the Kotte kingdom, which was the prominent at the time, was given to the eldest person. He was King Bhuvaneka Bahu the seventh. Bhuvaneka Bahu the seventh. It was given to him. And then the Sitavaka was given to Mayadunna. Sitavaka was given to Mayadunna. And Raigama was given to Raigama Bandara. Raigama was given to Raigama Bandara. Now out of these three, now when King Bhuvaneka Bahu was becoming the ruler of Kotte, he was at its old age, right? But Sitavaka Mayadunna was so powerful, and he was a warrior too. So Mayadunna, he was not at all satisfied with his kingdom Sitavaka. He always had a desire to become the ruler of Kote, right? But still he had to accept it. So the Sitavaka kingdom was given to him. Okay, so here somehow, now after this, so after the division of the Kote kingdom in this manner, now like I told you, the dispute started among the princes, especially Bhuvanekabahu the seventh and Mayadunna, because Mayadunna was not satisfied with his kingdom. So the issues regarding the inheritance of the future kingship of Kote and attempted to take over several areas that belong to the Kote kingdom by King Mayadunna were the cause for these disputes. So like I told you, Mayadunna was trying to capture some areas that belongs to the Kote. And Bhuvanekabahu was also at the time, he was old. So, because of this one, now King Bhuvanekabahu, he did not have a son. Bhuvanekabahu did not have a son. He had only daughter. He had a daughter and her name is Samudra Devi. Her name is Samudra Devi. She got married to a person called Vidya Bandara. Vidya Bandara. And they had two sons named, right? And they had two sons named Vijayapala and Dharmapala. Vijayapala and Dharmapala. Vijayapala and Dharmapala. Now, after King Bhuvanekabahu the seventh, as he did not have the son, right? Now, the Bhuvanekabahu's expectation was to make his grandson Dharmapala as the king of Kote after him, right? Bhuvanekabahu's idea or his desire was to make Dharmapala as the king of Kote after him. Right? So here, the Mayadunna, who played a major role in the incident of Vijayabakulla, was a great warrior, and he was not satisfied with this. What his thought was, after Bhuvanekabahu died, Mayadunna can take the kingdom of Kote also. That was actually his idea. But now, unexpectedly, now Bhuvanekabahu decided to give the kingship to Dharmapala after him. So because of this one, disputes between the kingdom of Kote and Sitavaka intensified. So at this point only, Bhuvanekabahu needed the support of a strong, powerful person. Right? The Bhuvanekabahu had to take a support from a powerful nation. So there the Portuguese is. So Portuguese, who are waiting for an opportunity to engage in the affairs of Kote, they were actually waiting for the right time. Now Bhuvanekabahu seeking the help from the Portuguese to support him to protect his kingdom from Mayadunna, to protect his kingdom from the attacks of Mayadunna. So now the Portuguese entered to Sri Lankan politics as helping to Bhuvanekabahu the seventh. Okay, so at the time, right now the Muslims were there at the other sides in the Lanka. The Muslims were there. Now, Muslims were only actually obtaining the goods from Sri Lanka and giving it to the Europe and earning a huge profit. Now, as a competitor to the Muslims, now these Portuguese have come. So, do you think the Muslim traders would happy about the arrival of the Portuguese to Lanka? Do you think the Muslims, traders would be happy about the arrival of the Portuguese to Lanka? Why? Why they might not happy? Why? Just tell me. Practically think and tell. Why? Why they may be not happy that Portuguese have come to Lanka? Just practically think. No. Yes. Why? Now, until then, these Muslims were the ones who were earning all the income, right? By engaging in the trading activities with Europe. Now, as a competitor to them, who will be doing that? 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 Who will take the goods from the Sri Lanka and take it to there? The Portuguese. So, won't Muslims' income reduce? Will their income reduce or not? Yes, their income will reduce. So because of that, they were not at all happy that Portuguese have come to Lanka, establishing their relationship with the Kotte kingdom. So now you tell me, critically, logically think and tell me, Muslims with support to whom? Mayadunna or Bhuvanekabahu? Muslims will support to whom? Mayadunna or Bhuvanekabahu? Muslims will support to whom? Mayadunna or Bhuvanekabahu? Yes. Muslims will support to Mayadunna, right? To attack the Portuguese. Right. So even though Mayadunna launched several attacks against the Portuguese, right, by getting the support of a Muslim, right, ruler in the Calicut called Zamorin, right, even though he got together with a Muslim ruler in the India, Zamorin, that all those attacks were not at all successful because Portuguese were very, very powerful. They had modern weapons and they were having a naval power. So like I told you, there were several fights between Kotte and Sitawaka, right? Even when Bhuvanekabahu was alive. Now in these conflicts, the Portuguese fight for the protection of the Kotte and the military expenses of the Portuguese had to be paid by the king. So even though King Bhuvanekabahu sought the help from the Portuguese, Bhuvanekabahu was not acted as a puppet of Portuguese. Whatever the Portuguese did, Bhuvanekabahu did not accept. He took the help from them. Yes, it is true, but he did not act as a puppet ruler. Right? So, by the time the Portuguese requested King Bhuvanekabahu to convert to Christianity. Right? The Portuguese requested Bhuvanekabahu to convert to Christianity. The king refused. He said, no, I can't. He refused it because he took the support, but he didn't act like a puppet. And also, not only this reason, there were some economic reasons also, which was a reason for the disputes to aggravate between Bhuvanekabahu and Portuguese. What was that? Now these Portuguese, they bought the goods from the people in Kotte for a very low prices and they sold their goods to the people in Kotte for very high prices. Is it fair, children? Tell me, is it fair? They bought the goods from the people in Kotte at a very low price and they sold their goods to the Kotte people at a very high price. So because of that one, right, the Bhuvanekabahu and the Portuguese, some conflicts occurred. right? Some problems started to occur because of this reason in between Bhuvanekabahu and the Portuguese. Because of these disagreements, finally Bhuvanekabahu was shot dead by a Portuguese. Bhuvanekabahu was shot dead by Portuguese. Right? So this is how the Bhuvanekabahu's life ended. So now, who is the king of Kotte? Now, who is the king of Kotte? Now, after the death of Bhuvanekabahu, who? Dharmapala. Who is Dharmapala? How Dharmapala is related to Bhuvanekabahu? How Dharmapala is related to Bhuvanekabahu? Yes, his grandson. So actually when Bhuvanekabahu was alive, he made a statue of Prince Dharmapala, his grandson, and he sent it to Portugal for the coronation. By doing that, the King Bhuvanekabahu had provided the necessary protection. He's saying that, after me, my grandson is going to be the king of this country. You should extend your support even when he become the ruler of the Kotte kingdom. That was the thing that he did there. So after the demise of Bhuvanekabahu, Dharmapala became the ruler of the Kotte. Dharmapala was a puppet ruler. Dharmapala was a puppet ruler. He embraced to Catholic religion. He embraced to Catholic religion. He allowed the Portuguese to propagate their religion in his kingdom. Right? And there were so many injustices caused to the people in Kotte by the Portuguese, but the king did not take care any of it. Right? Right? He did not take actions to prevent the harassment and the injustices done to the people of Kotte by the Portuguese. Right? So because of this one, the people in Kotte, they got disappointed with the activities of Dharmapala. So now tell me, this activity of Dharmapala is going to benefit whom? This activity of Dharmapala is going to benefit whom? Hishma, you got correct. Now, the people in the Kotte, they got fed up with Dharmapala. So they are going to give their support to whom, children? They are going to give their support to whom? Yes, obviously. They are going to give their support to Mayadunna. They took the tooth relic and they went to Sitavaka. Right? Many bhikkhus, they had a fear that this Dharmapala may give that also to the Portuguese. So that they took the tooth relic and they went to Sitavaka. So the people in Kotte, they gave their support to Sitavaka ruler Dharmapala. Right? So Mayadunna, he started attacking the Kotte constantly. So the Dharmapala, who was unable to face the fierce attacks of these Mayadunna, he went to Colombo fort and lived with Portuguese. Later on, he gave the Kotte kingdom as a deed of gift to Portuguese, right? As a result, what has happened? After the death of Dharmapala, Portuguese became the owner of the Kotte kingdom. Dharmapala gave the Kotte kingdom as the deed of gift. Because of that, what has happened? Later on, after the death of Dharmapala, right? Yes, as you all are telling, correct. Dharmapala Pissu, you are telling, yes, he is, right? He gave the kingdom of Kotte as a deed of gift to the Portuguese. So after the death of the Dharmapala, automatically the Kotte kingdom belongs to the Portuguese. So this is how the Portuguese who accidentally reached to this country became the owners of the Kotte kingdom. Right? You know that accidentally who reached to this country, later on they became the owners of this country. Right? Okay, so up to this, are you guys clear? So now I'm going to ask some questions from the beginning. So let's see how you are answering. Okay, so the names and all, you don't want to type it in full, right? You can send me in short as well. But how far you have understood only I need. Right? Okay. Right. Okay. Right. No, they have a number of the present name of Constantinople is Istanbul. Okay, Istanbul. Right. Now let's get back to the questions. Right. So now tell me, where did the Renaissance start? In which continent the Renaissance occurred? In which continent the Renaissance occurred? Yes, in Europe. Tell me, what was the main trading city during the medieval era of Europe? What was the main trading city during the medieval era of Europe? Yes, Constantinople. What is the present name of Constantinople? What is the present name of Constantinople? Yes, Istanbul. Right. Now tell me, who captured the Constantinople? Who captured the Constantinople? Who captured the Constantinople? Who captured the Constantinople? Yes, Ottoman Turks. Right. After they captured, did the European traders? After they captured the Constantinople, did European traders did they face any difficulties? After they captured, did they face any difficulties? Yes. So which country was forefront in taking the exploration? Which country was forefront in taking the exploration? Yes, Portugal. How do we call the people who lived in Portugal? How do we call the people who lived in Portugal? Yes, Portuguese. Right. Who was the Prince of Portugal who ran a navigation school? Who? Henry the Navigator. Right. So, what are the other nations who engage in the exploration other than Portugal? What are the other nations who engage in the exploration other than Portugal? France, Spain, Britain, yes, Holland, right. So tell me, who was the explorer of Portugal to reach the Calicut in India? Who was the explorer to reach the Calicut in India? Yes, Vasco da Gama. Right. So now tell me, was it only the economic reason the Portuguese to come to Asia? No. What is the other main reason? What is the other main reason? What is the other main reason? Yes, they wanted to spread the religion. Right. Now tell me, who was the viceroy appointed to Asia by the King of Portugal? Who was the viceroy appointed by the King of Portugal to Asia? Yes, Francisco de Almeida. What was the task or instruction given by the Portugal king to him? What was the instruction or task given to him? Right, to find the Ceylon. Who was the king of Francisco de Almeida? Sorry, who was the son of? Who was the son of Francisco de Almeida? Yes, Lorenzo de Almeida. So how did he reach to Sri Lanka? How did he reach to Sri Lanka? How did he reach to Sri Lanka? Yes, due to a tempest. Right. By the time when Portuguese were coming to Lanka, into how many kingdoms it was divided? 3. What are they? What are they? Kotte, Kandy, Jaffna. Who was the ruler of Kotte? 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 Yes, Veera Parakramabahu the 8th. Who was the king of Jaffna? Who was the king of Jaffna? Who was the king of Jaffna? Yes, Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. Sorry. Who was the king of Jaffna? Pararaja Sekara. Who was the king of Kandy? Who was the king of Kandy? Sena Sammata Vikramabahu. Right. Which was the prominent kingdom out of these 3? Which was the prominent kingdom out of these 3? Yes, Kotte. Now, by the time when the Portuguese have arrived, now when these group of people of Kotte, when they are taking the Portuguese to the palace, because of that incident, a proverb emerged. What is that? What is that proverb? What is that proverb? Yes, Parangiya Kotagiya Vage. Right. What was the most important incident took place after that? What was the most important incident? Yes, Vijayaba Kolle. Tell me, after Veera Parakramabahu the 8th, who ascended to the throne as the king? After Veera Parakramabahu the 8th, yes, Vijayabahu the 6th. How many marriages he had? How many marriages he had? Yes, 2. So on his first marriage, how many sons he had? 3. Who was the eldest? Who was the eldest? Who was the eldest? Bhuvanekabahu the 7th. Second son? Second son? Second son? Mayadunna. Third one? Raigama Bandara. Who was the son born to the second wife? Who was the son born to the second wife? Devaraja. So, after Vijayabahu the 6th, whom he tried to inherit after him to the kingship? Devaraj. So these 3 sons, do they happy about it? No. So what did they plan to do? What did they plan to do? What did they plan to do? They planned to kill their father. So, who was the friend of Mayadunna at the time in Kandyan kingdom? Who was the friend of Mayadunna at the time in Kandyan kingdom? Jayavira Bandara. So, whom they appoint to kill his father? Salman. So, after Vijayaba Kollaya, into how many kingdoms the Kotte was divided? What are they? What are they? What are they? Kotte, Sitavaka, Raigama. To whom the Kotte kingdom was given? To whom the Kotte kingdom was given? Bhuvanekabahu the 7th. To whom the Sitavaka was given? To whom the Sitavaka was given? Mayadunna. To whom the Raigama was given? Raigama Bandara. Was Mayadunna happy about his kingdom? No. So what did he do because of that? Yes. He was not happy. Yes, yes. So he attacked. So did Bonekabau, did he have a son? No. Daughter? Daughter? Yes. What's her name? Samudra Devi. Samudra Devi. So how many children she had? How many children she had? 2. Who are they? Who are they? Vijaypala and Dharmapala. So after Bhuvanekabau, whom he tried to inherit to the throne? Dharmapala. So was Mayadunna happy about this? No. So against the Portuguese who were there in Lanka. Against the Portuguese who were there in Lanka. Muslims. Arabian traders. So because of that, they gave support to whom? They gave support to whom? Mayadunna. Right. So was Bhuvanekabau a puppet? Was he puppet to Portuguese? No. Did he convert to Christianity? No. So how was he killed? How was he died or killed? Shot dead by whom? He was shot dead by a Portuguese soldier. Yes. So after that, who became the king of Kotte? Dharmapala. Was he a puppet or not? Yes, he was. So what did he do? To prove that he was a puppet, what did he do? Yes, he embraced the Christianity. Was the people happy about it? Was the people happy about it? No. So that the people in Kotte, they gave their support to whom? They gave their support to Mayadunna. So as the Mayadunna started attacking them fiercely, what did the Dharmapala do? What did the Dharmapala do? He went to Colombo and started living with the Portuguese. Later on, what was the decision he took? What was the decision he took finally? What was the... he gave the Kotte kingdom as a deed of gift. So see, our land, he gave as a gift to the Portuguese and finally it fell into the hands of the Portuguese. So my dear children, did you all understand this lesson? Is it clear? If it is clear, you can send me a thumbs up. I can leave the class happily. Right. Okay, children. So as I told you guys, I have given you my number as well as the college number. So if you like to join my class, you can contact the college or else you can contact my number and you can get the details. And you can also send the reviews and comments about today's session to my personal number. So I have given my number. So once again, I'll give it to you guys. So my number is... Right. I'm Rifka Rouf. And my number is 077861223. So you can reach out to me in this number. Okay, children, then I'll meet you guys in another session. Till then, take care. Assalamu alaikum and bye. Good night.